Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Alicia Finley.
Happy Monday.
And returning to the Palace of Megapixels is a fellow gamer, podcaster, content creator who may be busier than I am. It seems like it half the time. Whether he's writing articles for Geek to Geek Media or appearing on podcasts like Too Young for This Trek or the Super Switch Club, you can find him just about anywhere on the internet, but no place more important than his personal playthrough podcast with a name more ridiculous than ours. From TroytlePower presents the Power Playthrough Podcast with TroytlePower. Please welcome, what was your name again? Oh, TroytlePower, that's right.
See, it's all about that SEO. If I put my name in everything, then SEO works, right? Is that
right?
I think that's what SEO is.
That's what it seems like.
I forgot you did flourishing intros, and I'm sitting over here blushing once again. Hello.
Hello.
I'm happy to be back.
Yes, you were excited about Games Fest, and you wanted to talk about it, so we thought, hey, why not? Let's make this happen. We all have a lot to talk about coming to Games Fest,
right?
And I feel like we're not even going to get to everything because
there's no
as
way,
we're
recording, it's still going on. Yeah.
Right. As we're recording, only, 2-3 days have happened thus far.
I was going to say the Xbox Bethesda showcase is in 113 minutes from now, so I think that's our hard out for this, is we got to go watch the Xbox showcase after this.
Right. So we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
There's so many games.
There really is. Yeah, I can't wait to see what Xbox and Bethesda has in store for us later on today, so...
I was really surprised going through my YouTube video feed, and it was just like game after game after game, and I was like, geez, man, come on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover all these, so we'll get to everything that we can.
Oh, I don't know that we will.
And if
we'll
get
to everything that jumped out?
Yeah, like that's all we can do. They took 5 days. We
much.
Can't do it in a couple hours, and like we said, it's still going on, so, yeah.
So before we dive in too deep, I do want to kind of bring up something we brought up last week, just to kind of let everybody know, if you're still having trouble finding the pod, I'm working on it. I'm trying. We made our move last week, and just in case you missed it, we moved from one platform to another, hosting platform, Podbean to Anchor. It seemed like the right move at the time. Everything seems to be going fine on Anchor's end. I will say, Podbean, man, they were cold-hearted. So let me explain this, okay?
Didn't want to let it go, huh?
No, because as the pod was, I was making sure everything was fine. I was making sure that I didn't miss anything. Everything rolled over. Everything seemed fine. The only thing I noticed is that all my descriptions didn't roll over to Anchor. So it's essentially the base tagline is all that really kind of rolled over as far as description. So I was like, all right, well, I can relabel everything, get it kind of back on track. It'd be no problem. So with that in mind, I was like, well, I guess I could just go ahead and cancel the Podbean account. Just, I don't really need it now. Everything seems fine. It'll be fine. And I go to cancel, and they start with that, oh, are you sure? What did we do wrong? And I was like, no, it's nothing. I can't justify.
It's not you, it's me.
Right. I was like, I can't justify paying for this if I'm not getting anything, so I'm wasting money, and over here they're not charging me anything, and all I got to do is put in a little extra work, but it's fine. So I'm just gonna go over here because they're doing me right with all these other podcasts. I'm just gonna go over here, and they're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sorry. I'll come back if it's financially feasible at some point. Trying to get be nice.
Yeah.
And boy, when I hit that cancel, I was cut off. Everything, boom,
just
they
ghosted,
were done with me. So I couldn't
they
even
asked.
And so that almost kind of panicked me a little bit because it was like, oh shit, I didn't get all my descriptions from all my episodes. So they just locked me out of everything. But if you remember, they all roll over to YouTube, so they're all there.
Oh,
so I can
okay.
just take them from there. But still, that was cold.
Like, we're stealing your stuff, man.
She's like, well, fine. Shut the door in my face.
right.
They're done. I broke up with them too hard, so I apologize.
Super
but,
Mega Who?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it really felt like. It was just like, fine. Just, we're done with you.
Yeah.
So
I did that same transition a long ago. My podcast was on Podbean, and that was my experience too. It was like a couple issues with like the descriptions and stuff went a little bit weird, but it was like Podbean's support was fairly responsive to me, and then they weren't. Like it was like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Podbean did auto descriptions though, didn't they? Where like you add a template for your descriptions and it pulls automatically. God, Anchor doesn't do that. That's the one thing that bugs me about Anchor. I set up a keyboard replacement on my computer, so I hit !TPP for TroytlePower podcast, and it dumps all of my description stuff in for me.
Right, and that's where it kind of got. It was very factory like, so I could just upload it, boom, done. Everything was ready.
Yep.
Even saving text-based descriptions, just like going ahead and like if I knew what the show was going to be, I just set up everything without the file, and I'll come back to that later because I know it's going to be there. So there were things that made it easier. Even the YouTube video, now I've got to do that, and I'm okay with that because I can put a little flourish to them, which everybody watching today's episode of the YouTube, let me just say, I put a little extra work in for the titles. Ooh. So go watch that if you're not a YouTube subscriber, or if you're not, why are you not? I'm just gonna say that. I know you're listening.
We tell
on
you
your
every
preferred,
week.
Just saying, there's other stuff on the YouTube. Anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I'm really working on it. I feel like the pod is still everywhere. I haven't seen anywhere. I can't find it initially, so I feel like the rollover went over quite well, but I don't know. But
it's all the behind the scenes stuff that's a headache. As far as people listening, they didn't even know. They didn't know nothing happened.
Well, good.
It's just all headaches for you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So, Troytle, I got a question for you. What have you been playing?
Oh goodness. Okay, so Elden Ring came out a while ago, and I didn't get it because I tried to play Dark Souls, and I tried to play Bloodborne, and I was like, these games are bad and terrible, and I don't understand them.
Fair.
And then people kept talking about how good Elden Ring was, and I had actually bought Dark Souls on my Switch, and so I was like, it's sitting there, I'll give it another shot. So around the time that Elden Ring came out, probably about a week or two after it came out, I started playing Dark Souls. And then I just didn't play any other video games until I finished Dark Souls. And then as soon as I finished Dark Souls, I started playing Bloodborne. And this week I finished Bloodborne. And then on Friday, I went to my local library because my local library rules. And I checked out Elden Ring from the local library.
Oh, nice.
And yesterday I basically had 3 screens going. This is going to make me sound like the parent of the year. I had one screen was video game press conferences, one screen was Elden Ring, and one screen was Paw Patrol. And me and my kiddo just hung out and played Elden Ring and watched Paw Patrol and video game stuff all day. Elden Ring is very good, and the Dark Souls games are good, and I was wrong when I said they were bad. They are very hard, but they're very hard in a very specific way where you can learn to play them. But here's the trick. If anybody out there is like, I've tried playing Souls games, they're terrible, they're too hard, they don't make any sense, they don't tell you anything. That's all very true. The trick to enjoying a Souls game is you have to be talking to someone who already likes Souls games as you play the Souls game, so that you can be like, it'd be like if in Mario, in order to jump, you had to hold up on the D-pad and press the jump button and also put the controller behind your head at the same time, but the game never told you that. But then once someone tells you that, you're like, okay, that's weird, but I guess I can do that.
I'll try it. Yeah.
Right, that's kind of how the Souls games works, is you have to have somebody teach you how to play the game because the game has no interest in teaching you how to play the game. But once you know how to play them, they're really, really cool. But you got to get past that hurdle first.
Well, I'll let you have that pie. Yeah. I think first boss in Bloodborne, I think. And as soon as I finished that, I just set it down and I walked away. Like, that was enough of an accomplishment for me that I didn't want to do anymore. No. It was already frustrating enough. I
think we've expressed our disdain for the franchise. Yeah. I've tried.
I'm happy for people who love them. Play what you love. Play what you love.
Yeah.
Makes me mad, though.
What about you, Lace? What you been playing?
I played Cult of the Lamb demo.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to finally check it out, and I got around to it, and it's adorable and cute, just like you think. And it's kind of, dungeon crawler. You're playing the one lamb, you got sacrificed, you go down and even death won't be able to stop you. I'll give you life if you go start my cult. And of course I will. So you go through and you just, it was a short demo. I think it let me go until I finally died, which was about 25 minutes or something. And because I was still learning how to dodge and roll around. Instead of me, I rolled right into them instead of away. So it was the first time I plugged in a controller in a long time because the mapping for the keyboard, clearly doesn't come from a person who plays on keyboard. It made zero sense and would not let me remap. So I'm hoping that's changed on full release.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because the arrow buttons on the right side to move, who does that?
No.
Who does that? It's WASD till we die. This we haven't done that since the 90s. We've moved over to the left hand.
Yeah.
Just saying. It drove me crazy. Control was dodge, I think. C was attack. I'm like, what did you... I have to get a controller out now because this doesn't make any sense. This makes zero sense where my hands would fall to play keyboard and mouse. So I gave up and plugged in the controller. So
yeah, just even as someone who's not a PC gamer, I'm sitting here looking at my keyboard trying to figure that out, and my hands are like, no.
Not at all. So unless they fix it or give you the ability to map it, I think you're just going to have to suck it up on this one and use a controller, because even Lace uses keyboard and mouse for platformers, okay, and this one defeated me because it just made no sense for my brain where to go to hit buttons. But outside of that, I didn't really do a whole lot because work was kicking my butt this week and I was trying to cram a bunch of Summerfest into one day. So
yeah.
What have you been playing?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I may have played Lego Star Wars last weekend, and I don't even feel like I got to play that long. It was just like I picked it up for an hour, and then I had to put it back down. And I swear to God, adulting is killing me these days. I never feel like I have me time. I want to play a game. I just want to sit down and play a game for hours on end. And speaking of which, and I'm kind of hoping I don't know how this is working. I don't know if it'll be worth doing. I hope it is, because it sounds like it would be fun. But I was sent a link to something. Now, granted, Lace, I know this isn't your bag. Troytle, this may be something you want to look into, and if you do, I don't know what your Facebook status is. I know Lace is...
Anyway. I got rid of Facebook. Never felt better.
Yeah.
But
it's been years. It's great.
Apparently, St. Jude is doing like a gaming fundraiser.
Oh, yeah.
And you can sign up to log your gaming hours. Then, however it works, you play for a certain period of time, kind of like a marathon or something like that. And then, I guess, whatever you play, you log those hours, and then you're earning money for St. Jude. That's my understanding of how this works. So, someone sent me a link to it. I looked into it, signed up. We'll see what happens. I hope it's at least worth doing. If it takes an hour of my time and I'm helping somebody, hey, why not?
Yeah.
Playing games, that's what we love to do. So we'll see if that happens.
Such a big ask.
Yeah.
Big ask.
But outside of that, yeah, nothing. I've played nothing. I did. I don't know if I want to bring it up now or not, because I did play one other thing, but it's something that we might bring up in the Summer Games Fest chit chat. So
Okay.
All
right.
I think I'll save it. I'll save it for
May
for
as
that.
well, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't prep nothing. I was outside of Game Fest, because with it have gone on like Thursday and Friday and having zero time to watch either day, I was trying very hard all day yesterday to go through it all. So obviously I was like, there's too much here. And then to look for news also, I don't know that one day was enough time for me to pack it all in. So I apologize, guys, but it's games. We'll be talking lots of games.
Yes,
lots of
tons
games.
There's
Hey, can
too
I-
many. I actually had to give up. I'll admit.
Can I give
even
you a little
yesterday.
news before
Of
we do
course.
Game Fest? Because it turns out, as I was just looking, there's a guy, a Twitter handle, Toad's Anime, who is a games marketing guy that I've interacted with a few times through Geek to Geek stuff. But he does Twitter threads of all the Games Fest stuff, and so
Yeah.
that's my notes. I started trying to take notes, and then I was like, he literally writes down every single trailer. I'm just going to use his Twitter threads. But apparently, there was an Xbox news announcement on Thursday that was not part of anything. Xbox was just like, hey, guess what? Xbox Game Pass is coming to Samsung TVs. And
Oh, I missed
I
that.
completely missed that until just now
crap.
looking at his threads.
Well, I wasn't watching it like I didn't start from day one, Jeff,
But
and
that's-
just roll through.
That's
You
the
know,
thing. This
but-
wasn't part
yeah.
of Keeley's thing. It wasn't part of IGN's. IGN was just like, hey, guess what? There's going to be a Game Pass app starting June 30th on Samsung TVs.
All right.
Ta-da! No,
Well, then
no
later
Xbox
on,
console
we'll find
required.
out what's coming to Game Pass.
And then they also said that there's a thing called Project Moorcroft, which is, hey, guess what? There's game demos on Game Pass now. Ta-da! And
Nice.
And then they were like a bunch more controller colors from Xbox, which is great for the design labs. Did you guys see the Pride one? It's got like 38 different Pride flags, all like crisscrossing
Oh, I
all over the
didn't.
controller.
Didn't
It's a
either.
great sentiment. It's a little bit hideous, but it's a very like cute idea, and they are saying it is just a permanent addition to their whole whatever that thing is called design lab. You can just do a Pride flag now. And
Yeah, it's a little busy, but
it's
but
a
okay.
lot, but the
Yeah.
sentiment I like.
The sentiment for sure, but yeah, it's
yeah.
definitely a busy design.
More cloud gaming news coming to Argentina and New Zealand today.
Woo.
And cloud gaming coming to Windows 11 and Microsoft Edge browsers. And 5 new exclusives are coming from Xbox Studios in fiscal year 2022 that apparently haven't been announced yet. But they were just like, hey, guess what? We got more games
You're
coming.
breaking my heart because like I want to listen to Xbox so bad, and we're too early.
But that's the thing is this
You're
wasn't even
saying
the
all
Xbox
this?
thing. This was just like, Xbox was like, here's the stuff that just, it's not even important enough to put in the Xbox showcase. Hey, you know how they bought Activision Blizzard? Xbox wants, quote, as many titles as possible from the
sure.
Active Blizzard library on Game Pass the moment that acquisition is complete. And then finally, hey, Starfield's still supposed to be good, says Phil Spencer. That was the last part of that. They just did all this out of nowhere. On a
Interesting.
Thursday.
Yeah, I'm hoping we'll see more of that today with Starfield.
But keep in mind, we are talking about a showcase of Bethesda, and you know it can be hit or miss. We've
Yeah.
seen
Xbox
train
Bethesda?
wrecks. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
just
I'm curious
We're talking
if
about
it's gonna
Bethesda
be
in general.
exclusively Bethesda or, yeah, I'm curious. I don't know what's going to be in today's thing.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see.
Maybe
But,
that's why they put all that out randomly in a press release on Thursday because
Yeah,
they're like,
maybe.
this isn't
It's too
Bethesda
much.
centric.
It's like we
Or
don't
there's
wanna-
just too much to put in like their hour or whatever
Yeah.
they're doing.
I mean,
Well, anyway, that was my news. That wasn't a Game Fest news.
No,
thing.
thank you, because I was actively just trying to make sure I consumed as many game trailers as possible that I had to give up about, I don't know, late afternoon yesterday because it's like I'm never gonna consume all of this week.
you have zero news.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it was impossible
That's
for
fine, that's
sorry, like
I just
24 hours was not enough time for all of that.
I wanted to be
I had
sure.
to stay overtime a lot this week at work, so I ran from this PC the instant I could clock out.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure before I veered us in that direction.
Yeah, totally. That was it. I did
But, I
lots
mean-
of game trailer watching.
Hey, Troytle came in with the news. He was just like, I got headlines. Ba-bam,
Yeah, there you
ba-bam,
go.
ba-bam. So
Helps
hey,
out.
it works. I've got two though. I thought
Oh, good.
were worth bringing up, just little quickets.
We got you,
But
Elise. Come
yeah,
on.
we got you. We got you
Thanks.
covered.
Hey,
So there was an announcement saying that on June 16th at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time or Standard Time, whatever time we're on anymore, because it'll change here soon. There's going to be a Square Enix event for 25 years of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, yeah.
The hope is we're going to get to see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, or whatever it's going to be called. We'll finally get a glimpse of that. Whether that happens, I'm not saying, but I'm just stating that they're doing this thing. It's very likely we'll get to see something about that game finally, because it's been, 2 years since the last one came out?
I just assume we talk about things and then in 10 years we'll go, oh yeah, remember that thing we announced 10 years ago? We have to start over because there's a new engine. Mm-hmm. So then we're like, okay, never mind.
Why you gotta come for Metroid Prime 4 like that? Come on.
And lastly, I'm going to throw this one out as a truth or trash, guys. So you get to guess.
Ooh, okay.
Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Truth or trash. God of War Ragnarok is slated to release in November.
I'm going to say true because I feel like they've been aiming for this year. They've not strayed from that yet.
I've seen
you
the
want to get them
reporting on
Christmas
that.
numbers?
Yeah. But here's the thing, PlayStation just had a big old party last week and they didn't even mention God of War. If they really knew it was going to be in November, I feel like they would have said.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been the time.
I don't know. I think maybe some studios are learning to not give hard dates because they're big fat liars and have to keep pushing things out. So like I wouldn't say anything if I were them anymore. But
okay.
You could be right.
I'm going to say it's true, but here's my twist on it. Here's my theory. The reason they didn't announce last week is because I've heard people theorize the reason Nintendo hasn't announced when their Direct is going to be for June, because Nintendo always has an E3 Direct. E3 doesn't exist. You assume they're still going to do a June Direct, but they haven't said it. I've heard people say that what they're doing is Nintendo's going, we're going to go last, because then that's the thought everyone leaves on. So a lot of people are saying this coming week, as this episode's coming out, is when Nintendo's going to put out an announcement. My new theory is that the day after Nintendo's Direct, whenever Nintendo has their next Direct, the day after that, we get a big old God of War trailer with an announcement with release date and all that good stuff. So that Sony can be like, yeah, you're cute over there with your Marios and your Luigis, but look, Kratos is real buff in this one.
Yeah.
I could see that being
I
plausible.
would want him to land together, personally.
Okay. So you heard it here first. If Sony gives Nintendo the big middle finger with their God of War trailer, just out of the blue, be like, hey, we got a new state of play. It's about an hour long. And it's nothing but God of War. We know what they're doing.
I don't think it's even going to be that. I think it's going to be like a 4-minute trailer, and that's it. Like, not even announcement. They're gonna do Nintendo style, where Nintendo will just like hop onto Twitter one day and be like, "There's a new Paper Mario game coming out next month," and everyone's like, "What? How could you do this, Nintendo? You didn't." I think that's what Sony's gonna do. Sony's gonna be like
that way to do it, though.
They're just gonna drop a trailer on Twitter and not say anything about it, and the internet.
Why
will
not?
explode.
Yeah.
I'm down for it. Okay, so since I guess we don't have any more news to speak of, let's talk Games Fest. I don't really know where to begin.
I don't either.
So I've got a list of certain games that I want to talk about that I saw that caught my eye. So I guess that might be the way we do this is I can toss out something and, you guys can toss out something and we'll just kind of, until we hit a nice margin to where it says, oh yeah, I think we've covered just about all the things we want to talk about. Mm-hmm. That seems fine. So I guess I'll start. So it kind of goes back to what I was talking about. They did a quick showcase for Saints Row coming out later this year. There's a Boss Factory character creator that you can download right now for free and go ahead and pre-make your boss. Now, granted, I'm sure there are a lot of options that are locked for now, but
probably
there's plenty to choose from, so don't sit there and think, oh, there's nothing to do. I did this.
That just sold me that the first 2 hours I'm playing this game will be probably stuck at overwhelmed at all the options I can make for my human or boss or person or whatever.
See, that's what's brilliant about this, though. This is what every company should do, is just put the character creator out like a week or two before the game, and that way people who are already gonna buy the game can make their character and start playing when the game actually launches, and people who weren't already gonna play the game can go make a character for free, and guess what? Now they're invested. Now they're like, well, I've already made the character. I want to go see what it looks like when they beat someone to death with a giant dildo baseball bat. I'm sorry. I picked up Saints Row 3 again after this because I was like, I was playing Saints Row 3 on the Switch. That was pretty good. And it turns out I had left off just before unlocking that thing, which Steven will probably put a big censor beep over because even on an explicit podcast, sometimes.
I know.
Yeah, those games go places.
They're fun.
They're fun.
Though.
They
I
are.
always had so much fun with
I had to
those
show it
games
to
'cause
Becky.
It is silly.
I was like, do you know the name Saints Row as a game? Becky doesn't play video games very much. She plays games when I'm like, hey, play this game, it's cute, and she'll play it for an hour and be like, that was cute.
yeah.
I was like, do you know Saints Row? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, what happened is Grand Theft Auto was like, we're going to be serious. And Saints Row was like, that's dumb. We're going to make Grand Theft Auto, but even less serious. And then I showed her the giant dildo baseball bat, and she was like, yep, that sure seems like Grand Theft Auto, but more.
But
I'm really curious about the new Saints Row because the first impressions of it felt like it was doing that Grand Theft Auto turn to me that Grand Theft Auto did with 4, where it was like, this is the serious Saints Row, and I was really kind of bummed out about that because like 2 and 3 are the sweet spot of Saints Row for me, where it was just really ridiculous. 4 went too far, I think, but the more I've seen of Saints Row recently, it looks like they are in that. I mean, you can like launch yourself out of a car and fly around in a flying squirrel suit and then grappling hook onto it. I'm like, okay, cool. That looks like Saints Row now. I'm good.
That's what I've heard the sweet, like that's what they were attempting to do, hit that sweet spot, because that does seem to be the consensus between 2 and 3 seem to be the favorites.
Yeah.
And, you know, one is less serious than the other, and they wanted to try and find a balance, and that's what this is supposed to be. So hopefully it does hit all the right spots for fans, because if I was to choose between 2 and 3, I'm going for 3. Like, I love the insanity of it all. Not dismiss 2, but that's where I had the most fun with it. I was like, this is an insane fucking game.
Yeah.
I want to play this.
That's fair.
If you made it into blocks, like 1 is a block and 2 is a block and 3 is a block, I want to be like a third of the way into 3 is about my sweet spot in terms of like the groundedness versus the absurd. And by the end of 3, it starts to be like, this is a little weird. And then 4 is like, what if you had superpowers? And I'm like, fun in principle, but it becomes a different thing at that point.
Nobody played Gat Out of Hell here?
I tried playing Gat Out of Hell.
No love for those?
Like, last year,
thought that was fun, though, too. It's super ridiculous, too, of course, because you're in hell, and you're like, no, I'm not. I'm just going to fight hell now.
I'm going to fight hell with Uzis.
This
Why
is
not?
great.
Yeah.
Right, in an armchair gun. Like, come on. You had an armchair gun. You just rolled around in an armchair. Lazy boy.
The problem for me with 4, because this is a relevant conversation to have right now in our Summer Games Fest episode. The problem for me with Saints Row 4 is that they made driving irrelevant. And, like, that should be a core fun thing in a Grand Theft Auto type game. And they made the driving totally irrelevant because you could run and jump faster than you could drive. And at that point, like, cool, you're making a Crackdown game now, not a Grand Theft Auto game. And I like a Crackdown game, but, like, you're in a different category at that point. And the new one looks very much like it is. The driving's still going to be a core thing, but also the wingsuit, like, gives you an alternative. So I'm really optimistic about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I am too.
Also, it's pouring rain here. Can you guys hear that? Is it coming through on?
I actually can't.
Oh my gosh, it's so loud. Okay.
But I don't hear well.
I have like a metal roof above me, and so like on my end, it's so loud. But it doesn't look like it's coming through the recording. We're good. We're fine. What's next?
We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
So, people, if you hear this faint sound of something, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Troytle, what do you have?
Man, I'm
What's
just
the game you're looking forward to?
just really excited about The Rock's personal gym and his energy drinks, and that he's just hanging out, talking to us about his gym for. I'm excited about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Yes.
Which obviously we've seen a lot of already. I already knew I was going to like it, but the new announcements that came out with this are Casey Jones is a playable character, which is fantastic because I love Casey Jones. Casey Jones is the best part of the second new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and I haven't even seen that movie, but it's got Casey Jones in it, and he's played by Stephen Amell.
So you're just like,
clearly
well,
that's
averages.
the best part of that movie. It's got 6-player co-op, which I believe I saw is online cross-platform. The cross-platform
That
part
I
I'm not
didn't see.
positive about, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Day one on
That's
Game
cool.
Pass, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you ordered the limited run games limited physical edition, it comes with a coupon for a free personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut, which is the
I'll be
dumbest and
damned.
greatest thing I've ever heard. Apparently,
Well, I mean, maybe those of us back in the day remember playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a Pizza Hut. Okay.
apparently the NES game
Maybe
actually
they're
came
trying
with
to hit
that.
all our nostalgia
The
feels.
NES game came with a personal pan pizza coupon, and the guy who runs limited run games was like, "We have to do this." I was reading about people. Like I said, I follow a few marketing people from doing the Geek to Geek stuff, and I was reading marketing people being like, y'all don't understand how difficult pulling off a coordination between a video game and Pizza Hut is. Like, this is absurd that this is happening. This was clearly like the dude who runs limited run games pipe dream is like, we're gonna have a pizza with this game, and that just makes me really happy.
I like limited run. I feel like they always do.
Yeah,
Good for those things.
I am
or at least makes it fun.
I am not a physical video game person at all anymore. In fact, the past couple weeks have been selling off my old games, which hurts me a little bit. But I kind of wish that I was still interested in physically collecting, just because I like places like limited run games and premium edition games, because they're doing they are putting a different sort of commitment onto the same nerdery that we all have, and I like respect the hell out of them for it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm like, I'm not gonna buy your products because it's a dangerous hole for me to go down, because if I start, like, that's a bad place for me to go.
That's all she wrote.
So yeah,
It is not cross-play,
no.
just to kind of clarify. At least it's not been announced to be cross-play as of yet.
I was curious
But
because
no word on it.
the Scott Pilgrim game is from the same developers, and I don't think that one has crossplay. So I don't know. I hope they figure that out, because
I don't know.
that would be good. But since
I
it's
mean,
on Game
six-player
Pass,
mode might be a little crazy anyway.
yes,
you know.
since it's on Game Pass, like I know I'm gonna play it there, and then like next time my family's having to get together and I'm with my nephews, I'll probably just buy it on Switch anyway and be like, hey y'all, let's play Turtles. I introduced my nephews to Smash Brothers.
Joy-Cons?
Well, I have 2 sets of Joy-Cons and I have 2 other controllers. So I can do the full 6 players
So you can make it work.
in my house.
Okay, yeah.
It's just me, my wife, and my child, and we don't see anybody else ever. So we'll each have to play as 2 characters. That'll get complicated. I introduced my nephews to Smash Brothers last time we saw them, and it was like the greatest thing ever. The 2 oldest ones, I just sat them down in front of the TV and was like, go, and it was amazing. Anyway,
Perfect.
Turtles looks
perfect.
great. I'm excited for it.
I definitely I had that one down there as one. I just kept watching that trailer. It's hitting me in the right feels, and I want to play it. I do. I really want to go back.
This actually made me remember that I forgot about that Cowabunga collection. I thought that I'd missed the release on that. There still is no release date for that, but we didn't see anything about that either.
I've assumed that that's going to come out after Shredder's Revenge, because I feel like otherwise you're potentially undercutting the sales of the new game.
Sure.
And this was the first time we got an announcement for Shredder's Revenge, so it would not surprise me if in 2 weeks or so, when everyone's like deep into playing Shredder's Revenge on Game Pass, they're like, and here's when you can play the old games.
That's true. Because I really want to go back and revisit those, especially like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game.
Right.
I really want to go back and play that.
That is the one.
I played that so much.
That is the one game that is tempting me on those arcade 1-up machines, which are like stupidly expensive, prohibitively expensive. But man, if I had if I was allowed to expand my geekery outside of the podcast shed, I would be like, we should probably get a 4-player Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet and just have it like in the living room, like you do.
Why not?
We'll make some terrible pizza
decorative.
and play Turtles.
That's how I feel about the Mortal Kombat ones. I really want one of the Mortal Kombat stands and $500 plus. It's a lot, man, but
Gaming
God,
has
I
never
want it.
been a cheap hobby.
That's true.
No.
Let's just put that out. Never been a cheap hobby.
Lace, what do you got?
Oh my gosh, there was so much. So, because I broke it down into like chunks of, I was watching Future Games here or the Gorilla Collective here.
I was gonna ask. We can just jump around, like we're not, because Summer
Yeah.
Games Fest.
Yeah.
There were so many announcements. They weren't all Summer Game Fest. Okay, well, just anything that happened in the last couple days is fair game.
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
All right.
That's what we're
I
doing.
think that's just how it's going to have to be. I mean, I was happy to see Boyfriend Dungeons getting the update because I was
Oh, is
hoping
it?
we'd get more with that. So it looks like because if you played through, I don't know, did you play the first one?
I
Troidle?
played
Or the first one, the only one.
Yeah, Becky and I played a bit of it together where she was doing all the romance stuff and then I took the controller for the dungeon stuff. We were actually streaming it a bit when it came out and then haven't touched
fun.
it in months. So
Well, then you might remember there was those two other characters that were there, but you didn't really do much more interacting with them outside of just kind of getting introduced. So it looks like that'll come in new weapons, which, I mean, your dates are your weapons. Right. So obviously new weapons. I don't know. I'm hoping it'll breathe a little bit new life for me because I really did enjoy the game. I just didn't see it play it again.
yeah.
You know, like once you played through it, you've seen it all. There would be nothing to kind of go back and collect.
Right. It seems like I'm not a huge visual novel person, but it seems like compared to what I've heard about a lot of others, Boyfriend Dungeon's actually pretty forgiving in terms of letting you see all of the content at once.
I dated everyone in one run.
Right, yeah. And normally, like, if you date the sultry vampire guy, then the girl who steals things is going to get mad at you, and so you can't pursue that line or something. That's usually how it happens in visual novels. And Boyfriend Dungeon was just like, date everybody, have a good time.
Do it. We're all for everybody around here, which is whatever, you know, but I agree with you. Usually you would kind of force that sort of thing for other playthroughs too. But nope, I cleared everything in one go, that I was allowed to up until that point. So yeah, I'll be excited to see what that is because I really did love the blend of the two games.
Yeah.
I thought it was a unique, something I hadn't seen before with having your dungeon crawler, or I would love to just add more dungeons.
Yeah.
Give us more reasons to want to level it up or maybe an XP cap or something like that. But yeah, we're going to have a couple more of that. Breathe a new life into it for me. If it's still on Game Pass by then, because that's where I did play it.
I think
So I'd have to get it if they take it off of the thing. But I think it's still there.
I think so.
Because I mean, it came to Game Pass day one. I couldn't imagine why this wouldn't also. But money. I don't know. We'll see. Money is usually a deciding factor in all things.
I wonder with that stuff how much there is a like upfront cost agreement between Microsoft and the publisher to have the game on Game Pass day
there
one.
has to be, right?
Well, I the question is how much is upfront versus like Boyfriend Dungeon blew up, and so like presumably there's an upfront agreement and then also like a royalties type thing, and so you would hope that Boyfriend Dungeon, even if they didn't get the biggest agreement up front because they were kind of a small unknown quantity, has done really well because obviously, I don't know. It's that all that stuff is very interesting to me and a little dystopian and creepy, and part of me wishes that they were just like completely open about that. I don't know. It's weird.
I was curious about that because I feel like especially with smaller teams you would need more compensation maybe for what if you're playing it over and over or long down the line. You know, I'm sure there's got to be something built into that percentage-wise.
Did you ever hear about the band that broke Spotify's payment thing? There's this band that wanted to do a tour, and so they put an album on Spotify that was just like 18 songs of silence and told their fans to play it overnight on repeat, and they funded an entire tour off of this album that didn't have any music on it. And then Spotify was like, okay, we're changing the way we pay our artists because somebody found the loophole and abused the hell out of it.
It always takes that one to finally exploit it where they're like, all right,
anyway,
there it is.
If it worked.
But yeah, right.
It worked. They funded their tour. Good for them. Can I talk about Netflix for a minute? Can we just take a Netflix break? Did y'all watch the Netflix stuff?
I saw some of it.
So
it was listed on my notes.
They've got new shows. They've got a new show for Dragon Age, which okay. I'm not a huge Dragon Age fan, but it's a cool setting and some fantasy nonsense. All right, cool. They announced a Tekken series, which Stephen, I imagine, are you a Tekken fan as well? I know you're the fighting game person.
Not. I was never really big on it. I'm aware of it. I've kind of casually stick my head in and kind of look at it and be like, okay. And then just kind of go back.
Apparently, it's an ongoing story, like through all the Tekken games, which I didn't know. But also, I guess Mortal Kombat has a story. I found out from Podcasters Assemble last year.
It does.
All right, cool. My big takeaway from the Tekken announcement was that the guy who is in charge of Tekken looks like a character from Tekken, and that just makes me really happy. He's got a great facial hair setup, spiky hair, and cool sunglasses, and I'm like, yes, you look like you're in Tekken. But then they announced some games, and I had never checked out the Netflix gaming thing before, but it turns out that they have some, like Moonlighter. If you have a Netflix subscription, you have Moonlighter, which is an indie game that I've heard is really good, and it's installed on my phone now. I can just play it. But they announced some new games based on Netflix content, including a game based on Shadow and Bone, which, again, very cool setting. Cool to see a game in that. They announced a game based on La Casa de Papel, which I've never heard of this show, but it's apparently like a heist show. And the game has a very, very cool cel-shaded art style, and I love me a heist.
Okay.
So, gonna check that out. They announced a game based on Too Hot to Handle, which I had my wife break down for me what the game of the dating reality show Too Hot to Handle is.
I was like, I feel like I've heard of the show, but I don't know what it does at all.
So the game in the reality show is all these people think they're just going to a cool island for like summer party time, fun time. Everybody's going to have a big orgy party. And then 24 hours into it, they're like, actually, you're on Too Hot to Handle. No smooching. And like every time anybody does any kind of romantic physical contact, then some of the $100,000 or whatever that's in the pool gets chipped away at. So like you just have to not bone down, and then you get a lot of money at the end of it.
Dude, I could clean up.
And somehow they're making a
Get
video
away from
game
me.
out
It's
of this.
totally easy.
How is this going to be a video game?
I wouldn't get cast though for that.
I don't understand. And then
how you make it a video game?
And then they announced a video game based on Queen's Gambit. And poor Jeff Keighley had to pretend that it wasn't just chess, because it's...
I was just going to ask, so chess?
It's just chess. And poor Jeff Keighley was there trying real hard to make it sound exciting, but it's just chess, but there's Queen's Gambit characters in it, but it's chess, so...
It's chess.
Okay.
It's chess.
Everybody's got to like something, right?
Sure.
There's people out there for everything.
Yeah.
Chess has been around a while. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not knocking chess, but
yeah, right.
Could
but
be wrong.
It's fine to make a chess game, but to be like a new game based on Queen's Gambit, it's chess. Like that just seems weird to me.
Well, they're just using the name to try to sell a little bit more.
Sure.
You know.
And then some game series called Castlevania is getting a new show or something, and people are really excited about it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Heard something about that.
I watched the first series of that show. It was really good. I have not watched the rest. It's very bloody. Very, very... It's one of those animes where I'm like, I'm uncomfortable watching this because I feel bad that somebody had to sit here and draw all of this. Like, you poor people.
Yeah, it was a series that I was in the middle of, and I never got through all of season 2 for some reason. So as soon as that announcement came through, I was like, yeah, I need to rewatch or finish watching season 2 and 3 and get caught up. Not that it matters. It might not. Who knows? I don't know. But something I need to do. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Netflix. Yeah. You said Cuphead.
I did not mention Cuphead.
Let's talk about Cuphead.
I don't know anything about Cuphead. It's real pretty. I haven't watched the show. I haven't played the game. I don't know.
I talked about the show when it first dropped. I never got through season 1. This is yet another one of those shows, and I should have by now. It's not like it's time consuming. They're like very small.
Yeah, they're very short.
10, 15-minute episodes.
Old school Saturday morning cartoons, 10, 15 minute.
Oh, okay.
So
that sounds fun.
Easy breezy. You could have your kids watch it. I don't really feel like it teeters a line. Much like the old Looney Tunes cartoons, if you really look at them, they weren't made for kids. So this kind of has that same kind of level of understanding. It's like we know what we're kind of catering to, but we're also understanding that this is not fully adult, fully kid related. So it balances a fine line. It's not vulgar, but it's not a little. Some of the jokes could go over a kid's head. Let's just put it that way.
There's
But it's
stuff
not
there
bad.
for the
I still
adults.
always stand.
Right.
Okay.
So I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was pretty clever. I liked a lot of the animation style. Reminded me of the Ralph Bakshi, crazy John Chris Felucci, who I know is a sexual predator or something, which disappoints the hell out of me because I like his work. Damn him. Anyway, I don't want to
You
get
can separate the art from the artist.
I
still
know.
think
I understand there are other people who
personally.
worked on Ren and Stimpy after he left, so I can try to do that. Anyway,
Appreciate the art
Compartmentalize.
as it was influential on you, and then just don't give them any more money.
right.
That's the trick.
But yeah, we had the season 2 of Cuphead was also announced, but then there was that DLC that was coming to the game.
The delicious last course.
There you go. Thank you. And
DLC. Did you see what they did there?
DLC, very clever, kind of like Fast 10.
Fast
I
10,
love Fast
your
10.
seatbelts.
Oh, it's so good. That's so good. It has to happen. It has
Fast.
to.
You're welcome. They can have it if they pay me a little. I'm saying as if nobody thought of that ever.
Right.
But yes, the Cuphead Delicious Last Course. We're only a couple of weeks out.
Yeah.
June 30th.
And they haven't.
Yeah.
This is the very first time that one character is being introduced, correct? Or has she been?
Chalice.
So she has not been in the game yet. I was wondering if they had
No.
released her or not because she's going to be in the show as well. So they showed that.
Yeah.
Clever marketing.
Right, yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
For real. It looks cute. It looks exactly what it was from the first time. Bigger. I love the new little character. I'm sure I'll give it a shot, even though
The Rage.
it defeated me. It was really hard. It was rough.
I am
But I just love it.
I am repeatedly surprised that Cuphead is not on Game Pass. Like when I didn't have an Xbox One and I got an Xbox Series X and it's like, all right, finally I can play Cuphead, and it's just not there. Like that is one of like the top 3 games
weird,
that I
right?
associate with Xbox right now, and it's
Well,
not.
kind of saved by it too.
It's not
'cause they
on
had
Game
such a
Pass.
rough
It's
go.
weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
I like it.
that's fine. Another one I just want to touch on real quick that I saw that was kind of out of the blue, and I actually kind of called it before it was like they showed the title of it, but it was just an odd pull. I was just like, is this supposed to be this game? Flashback 2,
Yeah.
which is a sequel to one of the, like, how would you describe those? They're side-scrolling, but they have that very lifelike animation style.
Which one?
I've seen
Flashback.
them called recently cinematic platformers is kind of what the modern versions of those games are called, where it's like it looks like it plays like a 2D platformer, except bad, basically. Like, it's not really about the platforming gameplay. It is about going through the story. And so, like, the movement is clunkier, and, like, you have to make sure you press the jump button, like, at the appropriate time in the animation cycle. And I'm conflicted about games like that, because I don't think I think they're bad video games, but they are a cool way to tell a story. Like,
Sure.
I don't know. The old Prince of Persia is the other one that people point to outside of Flashback, is the like original Prince of Persia games had that same thing.
Yeah. Like the game Another World, which is also known as Out of This World on other platforms, that was probably my all-time favorite out of this genre of games. I've got it to where I knew all the moves, I knew what I needed to do, I could play it through it, with no problems. Flashback was one of those that I remember playing on the Super Nintendo, and for that very reason, because it had very similar aesthetics to it, and I thought, oh, cool, this will be kind of in that same vein. And, at the time, seeing a game like this on a Super Nintendo, it was fairly, exciting, because we didn't have cinematic type games that came around very often. So I remember playing it there. I picked it up on PlayStation 4 because they re-released and kind of gave the old polish or whatever. I didn't get very far because I was just like, I don't know if I like this anymore, And I played when they did the same with Another World. I remember playing it and I enjoyed it. But I guess I just don't have the same feelings about Flashback. And I want to play through it. I want to finish it, but I was just like, like you said, the movements, the gameplay element was just kind of making me go, I just don't want to slug through this.
Yeah, they're not Mario. They are not. They're just they chug a little bit. There's a game called Little Orpheus that I actually got a review code for that got delayed because you do play as a Russian soldier and it was set to come out right after the Ukraine stuff kicked off. So they delayed that. I don't remember if it actually came out, but it's like that. And there's a new spin-off for Golf Club Wasteland that was featured in a couple of Summer Game Fest things that's like that too. And it's like they look really pretty and they can tell a cool story, but it's just not the most fun thing to play. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Not my genre, I guess.
Right. And that's why I'm a little curious about this, because we really didn't get to see a clear shot of gameplay, so I don't know what they're doing with this game. So I'm going to keep it on the back burner, something I'll just kind of watch from the distance and see maybe if it's worth looking into. Because, again, I did enjoy those type of games back then. And if they're trying to put a new spin on it, maybe with better controls, I'm all for it. But you've got to sell me on the idea and the pitch before I'll jump in. Lace, you got anything else? You got another one?
Oh, my gosh. You guys, I was sitting here looking at it and trying to decide where I wanted to go. You know what? Let's talk about that Last of Us, because we've debated back and forth, you and I, on this about with the upgrade, how much better? Would it be good? All this kind of stuff. So I think we got an answer.
We did.
Because they did show video. They showed a side-by-side. And yes.
I gotta admit, they proved me wrong.
Right? Like, I figured it would look a little better, sure, but just maybe in my ephemeral mind, that it was so good, and I remembered how it looked, and yeah, and it was interesting to hear how they just were able to use the original assets and build upon it in the original, voice acting, story, the whole thing. It was interesting to hear that portion of it. So yeah, okay, It does. It looks better. I agree. I wasn't taking a staunch stance one way or the other. Is it so much better? I mean, I don't know. That's in the eye of the beholder. But it definitely was cleaned up. It's definitely a lot more cleaned up and more precise with what to me looks like facial.
I'd say if they were going from, like, if this was from PS3 to PS5, I think it would really blow some minds. But the fact they kind of already did the polish, the remaster on the 4, we kind of already saw them improve on it somewhat. And again, that's why I thought there's no way you're going to make it look any better. It's nuanced things. It's little things like textures, lighting, and it makes all the difference. You just don't think about it in the moment because it's like, that looked good. What are you going to do different? And it's like, we're going to tweak a few things. Okay. So, like the clicker specifically for the detail.
The concern I have is that this is not a remaster. They've said this is a ground-up remake.
Yeah.
And so it looks better, but they're also changing the gameplay. And I'm coming at this from a weird perspective. I absolutely adored The Last of Us, and I have only played about 15 minutes of it because the opening of it made me cry. I got my PlayStation 4.
Oh, God, it hit you right out of the gate.
I had heard how great The Last of Us was. I got my PlayStation 4. I was all excited. I put The Last of Us in, and I played that opening scene, and I cried, and I said, I'm going to go play Destiny instead because I just want a happy, fun shoot things game right now. And I've never gone back and played more of The Last of Us, and I adore the memory of those few minutes. The thing I'm curious about, like, I want to play. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I'm going to play The Last of Us. I'm going to play The Last of Us Part 2. Do I wait for this new one that says it has changes to the gameplay, which means it's not necessarily gonna be really the exact same experience, or do I just play the remaster that's literally installed on my PlayStation right now?
Right. I mean, from what I've been hearing, they actually made it more fluid. So people were already saying how much better they liked the combat system and how much better it played in the second one versus the first one, that I feel like it might be a better experience with them making it more, fluid to, catering towards what they learned over the years.
The counterpoint, and this is obviously it's a very different circumstance, but this is what popped in my head. It's like if Nintendo was like, hey, guess what? We were doing a remaster of Ocarina of Time, exact same gameplay, exact same physics, but it looks like Breath of the Wild. I'd be like, okay, that's wild, and I'm interested in playing that. If they said we're doing a ground up remake of Ocarina of Time, so it plays more like Breath of the Wild, I'd be like, no, that's the different, and obviously that's a much bigger time gap and a much bigger change, but it does feel a little, I don't know, like when people are mad about a new, a reboot of a movie franchise coming out, I'm like, you can go watch the original, like it's fine.
Yeah,
sure.
But like this is in a lot of ways going to overwrite that original The Last of Us.
Probably.
Yeah.
And that's
unless you have it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it is a weird, different sort of thing, and it especially feels weird because it came out on PlayStation 3, they remastered it for PlayStation 4, and now they're remaking it for PlayStation 5. It's a lot back to back. I don't know. It's a weird place.
Yeah.
And
it's the new Skyrim.
If I hadn't got Elden Ring from the library on Friday, I probably was going to start up The Last of Us this weekend. And now that I have Elden Ring, I'm like,
I mean,
maybe
it's
I'll
a
wait for the
phenomenal
remake.
story.
I don't know.
And you know what?
Yeah.
You're on point about it kind of hitting you depressed, just making you depressed. I remember when I got through part 2, I needed something to kind of wash the palate.
Oh, yeah,
because
you
it was
need
just
lighter.
like, it's a great story, great experience, but I gotta find something to liven things up. Now, what do you guys think of how they've relabeled the game? So now it's The Last of Us Part 1. Do you think that's kind of their way of giving it a different identity, so it's not just The Last of Us for the PlayStation 5?
Well, he said he wanted it to be the definitive version.
Yeah.
So
because I mean they all have their own.
Sounds like what the point is kind of this is the entry as it should have been had we had this tech then.
I mean, obviously they all have their own names now. You've got The Last of Us Remastered, The Last of Us Part 1. So I feel like branding wise it helps.
We could just make a new game, but no.
It's going to be very confusing for Uber nerds in 40 years from now who are trying to go back and play these games and arguing about what order to play them in.
At dates.
Like we argued about what order to watch the Star Wars movies in. Like,
right.
In order to get the real experience, you have to first play The Last of Us, then you have to play The Last of Us Remastered, then you play The Last of Us 2, then you go back and play The Last of Us 1.
Mm-hmm. No, and I'm sure they would say that if you were a true fan. Only us true fans took the time to do all that. But we did get a little still from the HBO show too, though.
We did.
If you saw that for The Last of Us. And I actually thought it was kind of cool to hear that they wrote characters for Ashley and Troy in the show. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to seek out any more than that.
No, I don't want to know
because
either.
I thought that was very sweet to include them in that way. No, I mean, how weird would it be to see like the people you brought to life playing as you wanted? I don't know. But I thought it was a really nice gesture, and I think it's fun. And now I kind of really want to watch it because it seems like that was just a very sweet gesture to do towards your OG people who brought them to life, Is
it Pedro Pascal? Is that who's playing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Is playing Joel. Yeah.
I was really surprised we didn't get more than just a look, because I've heard filming is near completion, if not done now. So
I think they wrapped, or this week or next or something. Yeah.
Now I don't know if you jotted down these details about the Last of Us Part 1, but you want to hear some pre-order goodies?
Oh, I didn't know these.
Yeah, I did write down how much they're wanting for this game again.
Well, I've got all the deets here because I'm sure $59.99 is the base price.
Oh, really?
Is it?
I saw $69.99.
Yeah, I saw it was full price at
up to
$70.
$100.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then
I was like, oof, we've crossed over. We're long gone, or $59.99.
Yeah, it makes sense. So that would explain as to why the digital deluxe edition is $79.99. And you get here's the awesome stuff you cannot play without. Okay.
Could have just been included, but okay.
Increased healing speed.
Oh,
I mean, come on.
Steven, you're turning
Come
me around
on.
on this game. I was a little bit interested in it. Now that's gross.
Well, now it just means get the regular version. Don't get their
Yeah.
super.
Yeah, but
sweet,
that's
this-
so shitty because they're saying if you pay us a little bit more money, you can have some of your time back, and if you don't pay us that money, you have to sit there and watch the progress bar go real slow. That sucks. That sucks so much.
Yeah.
Why do you think I hate AAA?
We're not done yet because you could also get a 9mm reload speed increase upgrade, a rifle clip capacity increase upgrade, explosive arrows gameplay modifier,
What does that mean?
which could be, kind of a nice little thing, but
Those actually bother me less because that's actually like the reload speeds and the explosive arrows, that's modifying the gameplay a little bit, which I'm like, okay, like that's what you get for
I
spending
still
the
feel
more
like
money.
you could just earn that in the game.
Sure, but the literally the speed of a progress bar for crafting, that's the one that makes me so angry. Reload speed, I'm like, okay, that's like okay, all right. Makes the fights easier, sure.
there's also a dither punk filter. Don't know what that is.
Dither punk.
Dither punk. A
I mean,
speed
I know what
run.
both of those words mean, but I don't know how they fit together.
What is a filter of that? Who knows? We'll have to figure it out. A speed run mode, which if you want to speed run the game, which kind of defeats the purpose of the story. if you
Wait,
ask
there's
me.
a speed run mode?
Apparently so. If you get the digital deluxe edition,
See, that's unpleasant
Only-
because I was
I
just
don't
preying on that
understand.
community. Like,
right? And then
Like you just speed run the game. I didn't know you needed a mode.
basically-
speed running.
speed run
Just go
modes
fast.
usually
You
mean they
press
just-
start on the original game.
yeah, they put a clock
Just
on the
go.
screen rather than you having
Yeah.
to have a clock separate. That's usually all it is.
and wouldn't it be funny? They
If you're
just
telling me they added the clock
Yeah.
just for you in this, I'm gonna be like, "What? They just added a clock for you?"
Maybe it skips
they could have-
cutscenes for
Probably
you
what it is.
stuff too. I don't know.
good, yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. It would be funny if you just had someone standing next to the clock going, "Come on!" I'm pointing at the clock, people. That's what
Right.
you're not seeing. Anyway, finally, there's a 6-weapon skins that you can also get for a black gold 9mm pistol, a silver filigree 9mm pistol, rubber tactical shotgun, sculpted oak shotgun, arctic white bow, and carbon black bow.
That's all fine. Again, that's the stuff like that's what should be in your digital deluxe edition. Is some garbage that I don't care about that people who care about can be
Right.
excited about. But reducing
You want a new skin or whatever,
wait
sure.
times is
Yeah.
not okay.
Yeah.
And finally, if you want the Firefly edition for $100,
Is this a physical or is
pre-order
this also digital?
I feel like this would be more physical.
Okay.
Because not only do you get all those digital deluxe edition stuff, but you get a nice steel book display case and The Last of Us American Dreams comics 1 through 4 with new cover art. So if you had them before, you can get a variants now.
all right.
Last of Us.
I
It's
don't
gonna
know.
make money.
I mean, sure.
If only Sony
I mean, they
was
did
like
say new AI combat, 60 frames
Right.
per second now, so there you go. There's your upgrades from the rebuild, your new AI.
if only they were like right on the verge of launching a new subscription model for their games and they could put this out as like a flagship title to be like, look, you should subscribe to this
Yeah.
because then you get The Last of Us Part 1 remake. If only, alas.
If only.
Yeah.
What about that? I mean, it's a novel idea that, Sony should be thinking about. But who knows? Who knows if they'll ever do it and do it proper. So we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know.
Who's got Troytle, it's your turn. I think
Sure. I'm
I've
going to
covered
go
some
over
stuff.
to which one was this in? This was in Guerrilla Collective on Saturday. There was a lot of Metroidvanias announced, as always, which is fine. I like Metroidvanias. But there's one announced called 9 Years of Shadows, which has been shown before, I guess. But what stood out to me is the trailer for it starts out in black and white with really nice chunky pixel art, and the character has a white outline around them, which looks very, very cool. And then there's a part in the trailer where she hugs like a cuddly teddy bear angel thing and the world fills with color, and now she has like elemental powers, and I was like, all right, I'm in. That looks cool. That looks great. I don't know
Guess
I
much.
feel
I
like
missed
I
that
did
one.
watch it, but I didn't write it down.
I don't know
So
much
just
more
watched
about
or
it, but
flipped
it
through
just
the Gorilla Collective.
it looks a really pretty, a really cool art style. I think it's pixel art sprites, but like hand drawn backgrounds. And then there is something at play with colors and elemental stuff. I think it shows her getting like, she takes on a wind elemental and then she's got a different move set and then fire elemental. So all that kind of stuff looks cool, but mostly it was the art style and hugging a teddy bear totally changing the way the game looks, where I was like, okay, weird but cool. I'm into it.
Yeah.
But I don't think Steam says Q4 2022. So no additional release date information yet, but it looks pretty neat. And like I said, there was a lot of Metroidvanias, but this was the one that stood out to me the most. A ghostly companion. Your teddy bear is apparently a ghost. A cute magical bear with the ability to heal, cleanse the corruption, and protect his allies. And he's just a little floating teddy bear in like a nightgown shirt pajama thing. And when you hug him, the world becomes colorful.
Oh, might have to look into that.
Let's do that. Yeah.
I'll give you another quick one that I've been watching for a long time is Frog Gun. It's a kind of PlayStation 1 N64 style 3D platformer where you play as a kid who your parents are famous archaeologists and they didn't invite you to go with them, and so you set out with your frog gun, which is FROGUN, one word, one G. That is a gun that's a grappling hook, and it's a frog, and it's also your best friend, and you explore 3D levels, collecting coins, and all the things you love to do in a 3D platformer in this very, very cool, very retro aesthetic. And I've been following that developer for a long while, and they
it's saying like summer maybe.
Yeah, I believe that one's supposed to be summer. I think that was in the Wholesome Games Direct. Actually, I think it was in a couple of these, so I think they're really gearing up their marketing campaign right now. But yeah, Frogun, just the developer seems very nice and pure and happy, and the game looks very nice and pure and happy, and I'm looking forward to that one as a very pleasant game.
Those.
It probably won't stick with me for a long time, but it'll be like a really nice weekend or something. And I like those kind of games.
Interesting.
Get into them too.
Lace, you got another one? I'm doing some research.
Oh, can we talk about Devolver Showcase?
I was just going to
Please.
ask if you could talk about Devolver for us.
Because I love your games, but it's almost to the point now where I just want to watch their showcase. Because it's always just so phenomenal how they just put together this whole story for us as they're doing it. And Steven, you better have watched it.
I saw who was in it. I saw Mr. Suda himself.
Suda
made-
51 bot.
Yeah, that made my day. It made my day.
Like,
He's so good in it, even though like he's speaking Japanese. Like he's not speaking English. He's speaking
they
Japanese with
completely
subtitles.
understand.
But they all
Everything's
understand
great.
him, even though he's speaking Japanese. And also, he's absolutely hilarious in this. Like his comedic delivery is on point. Even though
It
it's in
was just
Japanese,
so
like
great.
even if you don't read the subtitles, he's funny as he's doing this. It's good. It starts with him literally counting. He's like 29:59
For like
29:58.
almost a solid minute.
He goes so long just counting. It's so good.
It just and then they made the joke about it, of course. But oh my gosh, every year they do put on a show about marketing, and then they always just kind of blow it out of the water with their marketing, in my opinion. I always think theirs is a good time. Just the freaking never-ending story reference, I folded like a lawn chair in laughter. I just folded. I was like, you did not. And I hope everyone gets it, because that one's like the OG movie from like the 80s.
Oh, I got one for you. This is a side tangent, but I got to share it so I don't forget, because this.
Okay, we're moving off into Devolver.
No. Hang on to it. Yeah, I want, so I don't forget it. No, I saw something last night in that very same vein that made me laugh and hurt all at the same time, because I understood exactly where it was coming from, okay? I don't know if you guys watch Superman and Lois. Lace, I'm sure you don't. I don't know about you, Troytle, but.
No,
I mean, from like way back in the day.
Okay.
that's Lois and Clark. Totally different
Yeah,
thing.
this is a new show.
Okay, then no.
There's a new version of that. Yeah, same concept. new version.
So
We're
essentially,
making it again.
yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, in this, Clark and Lois are parents, so you get to see them with kids. That's the bare bones description I'm going to give, so you understand it's different. So in the show, in this episode that I was watching last night, Clark is trying to teach his son how to fly because he's developing powers. So he's got him to fly. He took off. He was doing pretty good. He landed. He's like, oh, yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it again. And Superman's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I got this really cool thing we're going to do called the Kessel Run. All right, you ready? And his son says, oh, that's awesome. What's that? And Clark's demeanor just dropped like, God.
I'm old.
Now, if you don't know what the Kessel Run is, Lace, I'm kind of getting this vibe. It's a Star Wars reference. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Millennium Falcon's
if you don't
the
get
ship
it.
that made the Kessel Run in 12.1 parsecs, which doesn't make any sense because parsec is a measurement of distance, not time. But then you find out in Solo that the Kessel Run is flying through this crazy like vortex thing, and so it was a measure of distance because he found a shortcut through it. So that's what was impressive about it, was the distance that he flew rather than the time he flew. That was my favorite part of Solo. I was like, all right,
Thank
cool.
you.
Thank you. That's
There
an
you go.
explanation that I appreciate.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, in that moment, in that scene, when his face dropped, I was like, yes, I get it. Because the older I get, the longer I'm on this earth, the more things like that happen. And I'm just like, all right, I just got to remember not everyone knows the things that I do.
It's our rite of passage.
I know. But I felt that. Anyway, back to Devolver. Sorry.
But yeah, no, I just thought the showcase was good. The jokes, the puns, the references throughout their whole showcase. I almost think this was my favorite one.
It was
even
really good.
including the ones where they had the storyline that took 3 or 4 years in a row to wrap up. They made the joke about Microsoft buying Bethesda again, just for fun.
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
Did you catch
I
what
wrote some of those down.
Did you catch what the guy's shirt was when his shirt changed? I couldn't see what it was in the presentation. I had to go look later.
It was about the Halo Animal Crossing mix-up thing, wasn't it?
It was Splinter Cell Animal Crossing was what his shirt said on it.
Oh, see, I thought it was a joke about, remember when Halo and Animal Crossing dropped on the same day
Doom,
or
not
something?
Halo. But yeah, that's what I thought it was too.
Doom.
I assumed it was a Doom guy
Okay, so that's
thing.
what I thought it was.
But it was Splinter Cell, which then a lot of people were like, actually, if you put Splinter Cell and Animal Crossing together, that could be kind of...
Of course we would. Of course we would.
Bad Twitter.
Okay, so I saw the shirt, but thought it was a different reference. But yeah, and G Fuel is just buying Valve. I thought that was great. It's a good announcement. Anyway, but they did have good games, I think, that was put in there. Like I already talked about playing Cult of the Lamb, August 11th. So we saw there's a full release date. You can go play the demo now, which I did. It was fun. Angerfoot looks interesting.
Yeah.
Just talking about the Devolver ones here for a minute.
I recently, not recently, last year played the Rico games. There's 2 of them, Rico and Rico London, which are very similar to that. Like it's just kicking out doors and going through rooms and stuff. But there's also a game literally called Door Kickers, and Angerfoot looks a lot like Door Kickers in a way that almost, if it was anybody but Devolver publishing this, I would have been like, I hope the guy who made Door Kickers is readying a cease and desist for this. But the fact that it's being published by Devolver, I'm like, I hope that was figured out somehow, or it's more different than it looks like at first glance.
Right.
That worried me a little bit.
I didn't know about the other one.
Yeah.
But I think
It looks fun. It looks stupid and fun. So.
Those kinds of games are ones that I'll probably 4 or 5 hours or something and then maybe walk away and then never come back to again. Not saying it's bad. It's just, once you've done it, you've done it. The Plucky Squire looked interesting too.
That's the one I want to play.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm so glad
I
we're all
just
excited
really
for that.
loved the literal storybook adventure and then coming out. It was just, yeah. And did you see the little Mike Tyson punch out?
Yes, I did. Now, the whole thing about it, where it was like combinations of old school games, I was like, oh my God, you're just making me love this game even more.
If you
every
showed me
scene.
the Plucky Squire out of context, I would guess it was being published by Nintendo. It is that level of cutesy and polish, and it looks so good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this one. I wish list, do whatever you got to do to keep it in the front of your mind, because that's definitely one that I definitely want to check out. And then the other one they had on there was Skate Story, which looks interesting. That looks like another one that would be a fun experience for a moment if you were just kind of wanting to go through with a nice chill game. where you're skating through this underworld as a glass person. The music seems to be a big focus of it, as they were announcing who the music was by. So I'm not in on a lot of pop culture. Blood Cultures is the name of the band. I hadn't heard of them before. I might have heard their music, and I'm just really terrible at remembering names and who sings what. But it does look more like just a chill experience, not really a game. So
I'm curious about that one, if it is going to be like a linear narrative. I feel like it is. Like it is go from point A to B, as opposed to like a Tony Hawk trying to get a score thing.
Right.
But the visuals on it is just that the aesthetics in general, the visuals and the audio both look
visuals were gorgeous.
Fantastic. Yeah. I have the trailer playing right now, and I'm just like, it's so pretty.
It really was a gorgeous looking game. So, but it definitely kind of reminded me of, was it The Great Escape? That's not right. Is that right?
No.
The name of the game?
The Great Escape is the Stephen McQueen movie.
No.
Artful Escape.
Yes. Artful Escape. Thank you. I was like, I have part of it there. Why is the rest of my brain stopping right now? But just kind of where the music is a huge portion of it. And as you're going, it's really just more gorgeous and beautiful and things. And I can get into those. Everybody needs a nice, chill, relaxing, just gorgeous experience from time to time. But yeah, I think that was pretty much all that was on the Devolver as far as games. I think I might have missed one, but mostly it was just
I just wanted to talk
enjoying
about
the references, the puns, and Suda 51, and I was just
they had a game over on the Netflix showcase as well, which I'm not remembering the name of, but Devolver had a couple games sprinkled throughout other things.
Card Sharks again too.
Yeah, Card Sharks was shown off again. And then there's a game coming to Netflix that I think is from the same developer that did Downwell, if I remember right, which is a very, very cool roguelike, or whatever. It is a game where you're falling down and you have guns on your boots, and every time you shoot a gun, it pushes you up a little bit, and so it's just a game about falling down and shooting stuff, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I think that was all that was in their showcase. Point P. That's what the
looks like.
Netflix
You're a pig.
Yeah, you pig, penguin, something. I don't know. It looks cute.
Yeah, POINPY.
I think it's out, actually.
It's like Point P, like Oink P. Point, you know.
I can...
Oink.
Here.
Oink.
I'm playing it right now. It's literally on my phone. I just haven't started it up yet.
There we go.
Welcome to Netflix
I was just looking
games.
at the art and like some of the stuff about it, which mentions Downwell. I'm sorry.
Downwell. That's
anyway.
what it's not Downfall. Excuse me.
Yeah. So, anywho. Yeah.
Anyway.
So, that's Devolver.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Plucky Squire. That was the one I was most excited for. Like the moment my eyes attached to it, I was like, "Well, they've just sold a game because I want this. I want it now."
Yeah, it looks good.
I agree. Devolver does good stuff. I may not always 100% love every one of the games, but like I at least know it's always going to be an interesting experience nonetheless, because they do tend to grab just like really interesting developers who like to tell stories in a different way, and I dig it. So.
There was some cool stuff at the Upload VR showcase. I got a Quest 2 last year and don't use it nearly as often as I should because I have a 2-year-old, so rarely is my living room floor clean enough for me to actually jump into VR without spending half an hour cleaning first.
Sure.
But there was some cool stuff in there. There was 2 or 3 different fighting games in VR, which is weird to me because one of them was like each character has their own unique martial arts style, and I'm like, yeah, but it's your hands, so I don't quite understand how that works.
I do not have unique martial arts styles.
Exactly, and you'd think that you would need that. But there was an announcement for, I'm just looking it up here it is, What the Bat, coming to VR this year from the developer of What the Golf. What the Golf
fun.
was an Apple Arcade game where everything was golfing themed, but you did like a billion different little mini games that were all vaguely based on golf mechanics. And What the Bat is a VR game where your hands are baseball bats and you do a bunch of stuff, and it will be absurd and wonderful because What the Golf is absurd and wonderful. And then they announced Twilight Zone VR, which is a weird franchise to turn into a game because it's not.
Why are we
Maybe.
still doing this, huh?
I mean, unless I'm mistaken, Twilight Zone.
It's been out for so long.
They're
Wait, the Twilight
anthologies,
Zone
right.
or Twilight Vampires?
No,
No,
Twilight
Twilight
Zone.
Zone.
The Twilight Zone. Like,
Oh, I totally just heard you say Twilight, and I'm like,
Listen.
what? That's what I went to Google. I'm like, we're doing that in VR.
Zone is a
Twilight
very
Zone, got
important
it.
word here. Zone.
I'm about
Yes,
halfway
yes,
through
yes,
watching
very
the
much.
Batman, and if there was a way that I could hang out with Edward Cullen in VR, I'm saying I might be open to it. Okay.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
The Twilight Zone VR, because Twilight Zone's not a story. It is just an anthology for weird stuff, right? Am I wrong about that?
But you
Yeah,
could just
I mean,
do
no,
episodic standalone games of mysteries. I could see that working really well. Like if you just want to do 1 to 2 hours is this playthrough on this episode, then maybe
Okay.
you do episode 2, which is a different mystery
totally
that you
different
solve or get
thing.
lost in. Kind of like maybe like a Quantum Leap, you know?
Yeah.
One dude went to all these
that would
different
be awesome.
places, you know? So
Okay.
yeah, that would be my vision for it. I've not watched it though, but that would be how I would think you would do it.
Well, the trailer for it just
PlayStation VR too, though. Oh, so I actually could check it out.
It
Because
shows-
my Oculus no longer, the headset no longer works. I don't think. Can't get sound.
the trailer shows people shoot guns, which, I mean, for all the weirdness of Twilight Zone, if you just turned it into like a weird first-person shooter, that feels reductive a little bit. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Make that like
well, I
an
guess we'll see then.
make a series of escape room experiences in VR based on the Twilight Zone. Like I feel like that would be from
could
what
be
I know of the
fun.
Twilight Zone, that would fit tonally better. It seems like.
Yeah, I agree.
Interesting. Well, I missed this one. So I'll have to be checking that out then now too, because now I'm curious.
The other thing that I thought was cool in the Upload VR showcase is they called out a game called Cosmonious High, which I don't know about. I think it's like a VR chat type thing where I think it's like, you know, a space to hang out in VR almost more than it is a single player experience or anything. But they talked specifically about the accessibility options
Kinda
that
like
they've
VR
added to
chat.
it in terms of like they have a setting now where you can play the entire game one-handed. They have a bunch of cognitive dissonance settings that you can adjust for various things in the game, and have made a point of having player characters can have their pronouns or by default have to set up pronouns and have them visible in the VR space, which I think all that's like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
Oh, good.
very cool
Yeah.
little accessibility showcase in the middle of you
Yeah.
know, look, big VR game with big gun. But anyway, look, you can make your games accessible to more people, which I think is a cool thing.
Always, always, always good.
And you know,
In my mind.
not to kind of roll back on something we'd already talked about, but to that point, I was actually noticing that with the boss creator for Saints Row were just little things that make all the difference. Like you can be
You can literally make yourself, and I love it.
anybody. Yes, and to that
Yeah.
point, they have amputee options, so you can have like a prosthetic leg and arm and stuff like that. I'm like, that's
Cool.
that's beautiful, you know, because now someone who might be playing with, you know, one of the special controllers or whatever, or has had those issues where I don't have a character that looks like me. Well, by God, now you can make one
Yeah.
that looks just like you.
That's awesome.
No, I do love it.
Yeah.
I do love it. Because at first I was wondering why some of how highly customizable it became. At first I was like, really? We need all of that? But I was very kindly corrected about how some people really would love how over, you know, customizable it is to see themselves in it. And I was very happy to get that.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes you got to think that outside of the box here, why
Right.
it's there. And ever since I was told that, I was like, you know what? I didn't think about that, and you're absolutely right. So I stood corrected. Like, yeah. So put everything in there, whatever makes you happy to see yourself in a game. Then I'm all about it, man.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. You know, it's your experience. It's your
Right.
game. You should love it. You know.
So I got a few more games that I want to talk about. Do either of you have any more? Before
Oh my God, I have so many written down. I just
Yeah.
figured we'd kind of roll with it.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I just want to touch on these few real quick, then I'll pass it off. One, there is apparently a Walking Dead Facebook game coming. I don't know what the hell this is.
Facebook game.
Their logo was adorned.
Like Meta, you mean? Or like a VR?
I don't know.
Because I knew there was a VR one coming out.
Maybe that's it.
It's Sinners 2 or something.
But I looked
Yeah.
into, like, I watched the trailer for it, and the more Facebook's little icon just stayed in the corner. I was like, I'm not playing this. I'm not. You've already lost
Well,
me
you
at
have
Facebook.
to have one to play the meta or the quest now. You have to have an account. That's the reason why I'm letting this one die in October, because I was told this year in October I get one or it's a paperweight, and so I've opted for paperweight.
I mean, fair.
I'll just go get a new VR headset. There's no reason why you need to track all that crap for me.
It didn't.
There's just
well,
not.
it didn't seem like a VR game, but it could be. I don't know. I didn't care because
Yeah.
I was curious to see what this might be, and then they lost me
Yeah.
at Facebook. So who cares? Another one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I tend to stop if I know I'm never going to get the opportunity to play it. So I was like, I just don't even need to know it's there because I'm not going to purchase said thing that's going to give me the access. So.
Yeah.
No, there was a clever trailer that came out. I don't know if you guys saw this or got what it was referencing. Hopefully you did, because they announced the game being like, this is one that everybody's been highly anticipating and waiting for. And then this trailer starts, and I was like, oh, we're doing the Dead Island 2 thing again, where the guy's running through off the boardwalk or whatever. And
Right.
With the zombie
Then
apocalypse
suddenly-
happening behind him.
yeah, and suddenly goats start showing up, and I was like, oh, okay, this is Goat Simulator. Okay, I got you. So it was a nice...
Oh, yes.
And it's not it's not just Goat Simulator. It's Goat Simulator 3.
Three.
And you know what? I didn't know there was a 2.
There's
I
not.
know.
I was watching it, and I think that's the exact note I wrote down. When did 2 come out?
There is no 2.
Because I missed 2.
There's no
This is
2.
like one of
There
those-
is no 2, so is that the troll? Is
That's
that part
the
of
joke.
the troll?
That's the joke.
Okay, well, now I love it even more. I seriously was trying to find where, like, 2 release date.
Nope,
Google
just-
didn't let me know I was getting trolled.
They just jumped
This is
to
like
3.
one of
Well, I respect it
Yeah.
more.
This is-
I respect it even more now.
This is like that Thanksgiving movie that had a missing sequel. So I guess they're going in that same vein. If you've never watched that movie, don't waste your time.
Yeah, I'm like,
Choo Choo Charles. Did either of you see this?
I have
I
Choo
didn't
Choo
see
Charles
it this time,
picked.
but I saw it a couple months back.
Yeah, right. I've seen it before. I have it picked in one of my fantasy draft leagues, actually, because I think this game's gonna review very well.
I think you and I talked about it, Steven.
We
You
may
wrote
have.
it.
I
So
just
when we get an update.
I'd forgotten about it, and then I saw this and was like, oh my god, this is awesome. I have to show my wife because she hates spiders and clowns. And if
How
she
does feel
hated
about
trains,
though?
she seems indifferent. So I was curious. It would have been that moment.
But after this, we'll see.
Imagine
So-
the poor person who is afraid of clowns and trains and spiders. Oh, that poor
Then
person.
you just don't get this game.
Just
That's what
don't
you do.
look at it. Don't
Yeah.
think about it.
Don't write letters. Just walk away.
They'd see that picture and they'd be scarred for weeks, going, "I just can't get it out of my head."
Oh my gosh. I know you're talking about one scary game, but the fridge is red. So I don't do scary
Oh,
games.
yes.
I tend to look away during the scary game trailers, but I watched The Fridge is Red for some reason, and I saw the part where the button on the elevator had an eyeball behind it, and then he
Yes!
screwed the button back into the elevator, and I was like, now I can't push buttons in elevators for the rest of my life. Cool.
Now
thanks, video game.
that's another thing ruined for me. Yes, I did watch that. I was like, oof, no. Well, you know what it's survival or horror is, like super horror. I tap out anyway. I can watch it all day long. I cannot control it. I just jip, and I don't know what it is about it, but nope.
I will
But
say
yeah,
the
that
reason I watched that trailer is because the visual styling on it is fantastic. Like they did a great job
I'll give
of
it that.
the PlayStation 1 aesthetics. Like I was captivated by the look of it, but everything that was happening, I was just like sitting there transfixed, going, no, no, no. I have a
Yeah.
thing about I don't like scary things in general, and also I have a thing about eyes. And The Fridge is Red is like specifically
it just
eye-based
hit all of it
horror,
for you,
and
huh?
no.
Yeah. It's not a game for Troytle.
So yeah, that was the last one that really caught my eye up until I don't know if you guys saw this one, and I'm surprised this wasn't one of those games that came out of Devolver, because this seems like it would have been right up their alley. Gory, cuddly carnage.
Oh,
You're-
is this?
You're a
Wait.
cat on a hoverboard,
Yeah.
killing mutant unicorns or some weird. I'm almost positive that's what it said. Unicorn.
I think they were evil unicorns.
Evil unicorn.
Because there was a song, a jingle that played at the end of the trailer that sang,
Yeah.
"You're a cat on a hoverboard, killing evil unicorns." Like,
that just It's insanity, and I want to play it. I really do.
That was one of those
Slash.
moments where I was like, video games are good. I like video games.
Right.
It's people like the developers who come up with just some of the most outlandish stuff. That's those are the gold mines, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they should be given bigger projects because they've got some innovation and imagination.
Right?
They're just like, what
No,
would
this
be
looks
insane? A cat, a hoverboard, unicorns that are evil, and blood and gore abounds. Sign me up. Let's do it.
I dig it.
My last shout out is just the entire Wholesome Direct, because I love the Wholesome Direct, and I love cute wholesome indie games that make me happy, and just everything in the Wholesome Direct. Either I was like, that looks cute and I'm so excited to play it, or that looks cute and I know somebody who's so excited to play it. Now, oftentimes that was my co-editor at Geek to Geek, Alinzia, because she likes the farming sims that I don't like so much. And so the Wholesome Direct was basically just me going, that's either a me game, an Alinzia game, or a both of us game. And it just made me happy. It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's fun. The Hubs told me that the other day, that he's happy that I'm a gamer because he hasn't had to look for a game in years. And that every time I just tell him, I think you'll like this one, you're always right. So I'm like, "Oh."
You got good instincts. You know what people like.
It's like I know my Hubs or something. I don't know.
Lace, did you have another one?
Oh man, well, there was a couple, I think, good mentions in the Epic showcase, even though I know we're not like huge Epic fans here. But hey, you know, when you see a good game, because they did do a little bit more of the Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, where you got a closer look at the ghosts, or a ghost, I guess, in particular, the ectoplast that you can play, showing you how each variant can affect your gameplay or the strategy that you want to play. So that was kind of interesting to see, because I was like, kind of had my eye on this one, but us in multiplayer games, it just kind of depends on if we'll ever have time to have multiple players. But I like the style of it. I don't know. I would love to give it a couple of runs as the Ectoplast. But yeah, I wrote that down because I know you and I had been discussing it, you know, over the course of the pod since it was announced.
Right.
And the summer update for Sifu looked good too. So if you're playing that one, looks like, I don't know, it looks like it's turning into one of those that people will like tournament with the fighting, because it seems like a lot of the stuff was increasing enemy attack speeds, so making it harder for you, adding golden weapons, a low gravity mode, which looked like it made it hard for you to jump or something. So like good slow-mo. So it was kind of interesting new modes, bullet time mode. So that'll be dropping in August. So it looks like you're getting different modes that you can play the game in. It's just interesting to see a game like that from an indie team that looks like it's just going to continually keep getting updates like that. So I think it's cool, and like to shout out an indie team that looks like they're working hard for you. So, and then they showed a little bit about what Alan Wake 2, which I hope means when they were showing it on this one that didn't mean that it's not coming out on all the things. Because I just remember all of the tomfoolery of the first game and how it was supposed to come on everywhere, and then it was supposed to be PC, and then it got canned, and then it went to Xbox only, and then I had to give up because I was like, how am I supposed to play this game?
It shows PlayStation 5, Xbox, no date yet for Switch, but apparently it's coming to Switch. The Alan Wake. Oh, that's Alan Wake Remastered I'm looking at, sorry.
Yeah.
But I
just need 2 to come to PS5 because the Hubs has to play it for me, because now that it's gone full on first person horror, I have to tap out, but I want to know the rest of the story. So I just need it to come to PlayStation 5 so he can play it. That's my only request.
Did you?
You can do whatever you want after that.
Steven, did you make note of the two? Did you see there were 2 kaiju games shown off over the course of the week here?
Yeah.
No.
One was in Epic, which is what made me just remember. One is that's called Giga Blast, which kind of gives me War of the Monsters vibes.
I think I wrote that down for Steven as well. Giga Bash, yeah.
Or Giga Bash, yeah.
Yeah, looks like it's large monsters beat 'em up.
That sounds familiar for some reason.
But the monster's kind of robot-y, too.
It's been announced
before. Yeah, I did write it down.
Okay, so yeah, I have seen
just
this.
for Steven.
And then there was one during the Wholesome Direct, excuse me, called Kaichu, where the monsters kiss. And that's all I know about it, is that it's a kaiju game where the monsters kiss. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Okay, I want that one now, too.
I'll have to look that one up. I missed that one.
But yeah, so that was and then
So
I
many
think the only
games.
other one I wrote down out of the epic
Oh,
one
wow.
was PC Building Simulator 2 because I'm that nerd that
Oof.
had fun with the first one. So I was like, oof, 2? So
Lisa, you can just build me a PC for real so I can actually play PC games. And
send me parts. I
yeah,
build.
Those parts are expensive is the problem.
I know. I just built one again.
I'm literally eyeing the Steam Deck as an alternative to trying to get a gaming PC at some point because I'm like, this thing's basically as powerful as any gaming PC that I would build, probably for cheaper and less headache, and it's portable. Like that might be like
And it's like so many updates that's been coming by the time you would actually physically get one in your hands. It'll probably have all the things you actually want from it.
I might really
I'm still checking. I never
Listen.
got an email yet that it's my turn, so it's been over a year.
if and when I get a Steam Deck, I will probably play like Pokemon and Link's Awakening on it more than anything else. So it's ridiculous for me to want one.
The
but I
thing you
want
can
one.
already play on the Switch, right? I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did I do this? Why did I spend $800 for another way to play RimWorld? I don't know. What else, Steven?
I'm looking. We haven't talked about some of the bigger games, which I'll be honest with you, I could
do
give
have
a
at the
damn.
top here some of the world premieres.
Okay, so what exactly? Because
Well, they kicked it off with giving us more of a look at some of the characters in Street Fighter 6.
Oh my
So
gosh.
if you were looking at one of those bigger games, it just looks like more upgraded Street Fighter to
I'm
me.
so
I don't really
mad.
know what more to say.
I'm so
Oh,
mad
yeah?
that was the kickoff. The kickoff was Street Fighter 6.
That's true. That was the
character
very first
reveal
thing.
is Guile, the guy you think of when you think of Street Fighter. He's gonna be in this one. It's Street Fighter, man.
Yeah.
It's in Street Fighter. Coming to
Oh my
Smash
God.
Brothers. It's Link. Like, yeah, we know. Like, that's not a reveal.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know. I
expected.
found that kind of entertaining that was the one that we kicked off the entirety of Summerfest or Summer Game Fest on. But sure, there you go. So if you're excited,
If you're excited, that's great.
more
but
look.
I was
Yeah,
waiting for it to
yeah.
be a joke. Like, I literally thought it was a joke, and then they were gonna reveal something unexpected, and I was like, no, it's just okay.
It's just that.
It's just Mr.
Yeah,
Street Fighter.
yeah.
Okay.
And then they did show off a cinematic trailer for a very bleak new Aliens world, Aliens Dark Descent.
Here's
Where
the
I'm at.
Very, very bleak trailer.
At least I know you're not the biggest AAA person, and I'm not either. And I'm becoming
Yeah.
like, the more I do like the video game
I
journalism
think over the
stuff,
last 4 years, it's started to make it even worse for me wanting to like AAA.
Right.
But yes,
like
It's
I
just gotten
don't.
worse.
That's the thing, is I can't tell if it's paying more attention is making me like AAA games less, or if they're just
Probably.
getting worse. But like, this trailer was very, very cool. And it's like, look at this super intense alien, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, for like a half a second, they're like, it's a twin stick shooter. Anyway, moving on. And I'm like, wait, what? What? It's a top-down shooter in alien? Like, that's weird.
yeah,
And-
no, the hell with that.
I guess that there,
well, I was tapped out already because I feel like we've done that enough.
there was a
in
press
every
release
format.
later where they talked more about the mechanics, and it sounds like there's more going on. But the like snippet of gameplay they showed at the end, like, I was excited by the trailer, and then that snippet of gameplay just totally lost me, because I was like, oh, this looks like something I would play on my phone. This does not look
Yeah,
like, this doesn't look like the
okay.
trailer looked like at all. Like, totally disconnected.
Very bleak trailer for nothing then. Okay, well then, moving on. But let's see, the other one, I mean, they gave us more of a look at Callisto Protocol also, so if that's something you had your eye on and you were a huge Dead Space fan, same, some of the same people involved, it definitely looks like it'll scratch that itch. December 2nd, 2022, so they set a release date, so Merry Christmas, happy Callisto Protocol.
That game looks very pretty and very unpleasant.
Oh my gosh, it just looks brutal. It was
Yeah.
just that one death at the end where the alien or whatever it was that chopped off just the front half of his head.
And then you see the back half of his head just hanging out.
Yes.
It's just there, just
I
chilling.
was like, "Whoa." So I can't play it. But I had a friend that was big into Dead Space games, so I've been sending him these trailers because I was like, I know you were sad when it was gone. Look, upgraded. And then the other one I saw was the Fort Solis, which was one of the other bigger ones that the new one with Roger Clark, Julia Brown, and Troy Baker
Yeah, yeah.
are voicing it. Built in Unreal. Looked like it was just another cinematic trailer, really.
It's another
but a new
spooky
indie team out of
sci-fi
Europe.
train or sci-fi game.
Yeah. I feel like space was the theme this year. We really went off Earth.
Hey, yeah.
I saw a lot of space games this year, which is fair. Kind of ready.
But remember, we had this conversation about space, and it's getting old, man. At least in my book, it is. Everything's in space. Everything is zombies and undead things, and I'm bored of it. You know, I want more. I want the plucky squire.
Well, we'll get the plucky squire. I don't know. Troy Baker says it's a fast, tight thriller. Woo!
Like all the others. All I'm saying.
I don't know. I saw a scary game, and I was like, nope.
I saw a tweet. I just pulled it back up from @Orteal42 that says, "Indie games. What if you were a little fly? What if the sentient locomotive was after you? What if you tidied up a house? What if you were a bear who runs a bed and breakfast? AAA games. What if you had a gun?" And that that was kind of the energy this Summer Games Fest.
Yep. And I think that's another reason why I tend to gravitate more towards indie too. It's just usually more interesting storytelling and more ridiculous situations. It's not the same, you know.
Well, I mean,
their AAA breaks through once in a while. I mean, like I still got to give props to like Witcher 3, Last of Us 2, you know, gorgeous games, really good stories. But
seriously, what was one of the first announced games out of Game Fest as soon as this shit started? Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, blah! And as soon as they said that, I checked out. And I said, I will be back whenever you're done talking about this because I don't care.
In fact, I also noticed...
And it's kind of a given at this point. Yes, there will be another FIFA. There will be another Call of Duty. There will be, like, we know you're going to get a new one of those every single year.
It feels like a lot of the, like, cute and interesting games were backloaded in Summer Game Fest, and they kicked off with a block of, like, really upsetting horror games. And I feel like that's backwards. Do the cute ones up first. Like how TV, you know, after 10 o'clock at night, you can show more stuff or whatever it is. I feel like that's how game announcements should go. Is like, all right, let me sit down and watch the cute cuddly things, and then you can put all your spooky poke an eyeball out with a razor blade things at the end, and I can stop watching.
Later on when I go to bed.
There was a new one announced from, or I guess it's not announced, it's been announced before, but Zenless Zone Zero is from the team that does Genshin Impact, and it's like anime, sci-fi, futuristic, urban thing. And I've only played a little bit of Genshin Impact, but I like the gameplay on it a lot, so I'm very curious to see another thing from them.
I haven't played it, but my sister-in-law's kid, oldest, loves it.
It's a good video game. Like, I don't love the gacha mechanics in it.
Plays the hell out of it.
Yeah,
so.
The gameplay's good. It's fun.
Yeah. I watched them play it, and yeah, I mean, I could see exactly why. And they just love it.
How about One Piece?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you guys know One Piece?
I'm aware of it. I did see the trailer for it. I can't say I'm excited about it, but
I've watched like the first episode of One Piece once, I think. I know nothing about the franchise, but I really like its visual style, so every time there's a One Piece game, I'm like a little tempted by it. And this one, like, it looks like kind of a cool, like, open world adventure RPG thing, and I'm like, maybe I'll just not watch One Piece and I'll just play the One Piece game, and that'll be my experience of One Piece.
Get your experience with it that way. I dig it.
There was a game I think I saw a trailer for this morning that kind of caught my interest to a point. I don't know. It just seemed like silly, cute fun called Lumberjack.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like a big lumberjack bear. Trying to remember the gameplay that was going on.
You're like destroying industry. There's like the
set
up like an oil refinery in the woods, and you go and you take your axe and just break it down, and I'm like, okay, get him, bear.
Yeah. You're just going to chop down and recycle anything man-made.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way. Get it out of my backyard. And you know what? Fair. We did kind of build all up in their home.
But it's got one of those art styles that we see with a lot of indie games, kind of like Donut County or what was that?
Low poly, flat shading.
Yeah, the Goose Game kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I like that kind of stuff, and that seemed kind of fun.
Video games are good. That was my ultimate takeaway from this week. Like, there was nothing that blew me away. There was not like a big, shadow drop that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's out now. But like, I was just like, man, these are fun. And it felt a little disorganized. Like, I know, Lacey, you were trying to catch up on it all at once, but I was mostly watching this as they happened, and like trying to figure out like where and when the next stream was a little confusing because these aren't all affiliated, and I feel like if E3 was happening, these would have all been connected to that, and it would have been a little easier to follow along with. And I think
I'm wondering too if they tried to make accommodations, because how long have we known E3 was canceled this year?
since like
thought we
February,
knew.
I want to say.
Yeah.
It was a
Right,
while.
but like, do you think all of the people who would have been involved would have had ample time to replan for a different showcase?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just playing devil's advocate.
I'm not sure
I
how
don't
that all
know,
gets
'cause
put together, but it was
because they probably, like, Devolver's usually always E3, right? So, but they
Right.
showed it off here in Summer Game Fest. So I'm wondering if some last minute moving around to try to get them, like, hey, we can't be at E3, can we do it? Again, Jeff's like, sure, of course.
Well, but
And then
it's not
maybe
even all,
kinda-
because like Summer Game Fest is a thing, and the Netflix showcase was part of that. But like, I don't think the Future Games show is technically affiliated with Summer Game Fest. I know Guerrilla Collective, I don't believe, is technically affiliated, and then IGN does its like Summer of Games that's at the same time as Game Fest, which is actually where a lot of these announcements happen. So it's all a little spread out, and
Good call.
it was
Or like, yeah.
it was
I didn't think about that.
just a little weird to follow. There's a website it's e3recap.com that does a really good job of like putting together everything in
Yeah.
one place, and so that's how I figured out like when and where is the next thing happening. But overall, like I was, this wasn't as exciting as an E3, I don't think, but it was still like really fun. It's just fun to see a bunch of games all kind of getting announced at the same time, and the internet all collectively talking about them together. It just makes me happy.
Well, I remember there's still 2 more days.
That's
so,
true.
Like, there's
That's
even all
true.
day today, and I think Monday. Well, today, I mean, in podcast world, because you're listening on a Monday, right? Is there's some more stuff on the 13th as well,
Yeah.
but not like a lot. It looked like there might have been.
And
like, a
I
couple
still
things
think
here or
Nintendo's
there,
got
so.
something either this week or next week. I think we'll see a Nintendo
Sure.
Direct.
Right, I do too. Yeah, because they had pulled out of E3 altogether a long time ago, so like I wasn't expecting them to join up on anything, because since they have been doing their own directs and stuff like that. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be a lot more to come. But yeah, Any
Video
other
games
you
are
wanted
good.
to chat about?
Yeah, I think we've covered about what we can within the allotted amount of time. I
Right?
feel like
Yeah,
if
it's
we,
already long, and I didn't even cross out all the ones I wrote down. So
Yeah, there was a lot.
about a lot of games.
And
I
if
wrote
we'd have
down.
waited for the Bethesda Microsoft thing, it would have just been more. The PC gaming thing, there more.
Oh, I'm sure some of this would have got shoved around.
Yeah.
You never know, because clearly I didn't hit all of this either.
So we'll talk about it next week, I'm sure, if it's worth talking about. And yeah, I'm taking pot shots. It's okay. It's fine. There's.
He doesn't share the same love of Bethesda.
I don't, because they've only done me. They've only given me one game that I was like, and I guess I've just not played the others. So
Yeah, I
don't
liked
care.
Fallout. I liked
I like Fallout.
the Elder Scrolls series. I liked.
I've never played it, so see, that's why. How many iterations have they re-released, and I've never played one.
Why?
And I've
won't
gotta
they
wait
give
Well, I
for
mean,
the
Elder
newest
Scrolls
one.
is different games. It wasn't just Skyrim forever and ever since the beginning of time. Like there was other Elder Scrolls game. It's just Skyrim got put on more
Right, but
consoles than others. But
Todd,
I just
Todd,
never
if you're
played it.
listening, Todd, please give me Morrowind on Switch. Just, you don't have to make it pretty. It doesn't need any updates. Just please put Morrowind on Switch so I can play Morrowind on Switch.
Right?
Please, Todd. Please.
I still have the CDs for the PC. Like I could still try to load them up and play it that way.
Morrowind
I do
is
still have
one of my
Morrowind.
favorite games of all time. Morrowind came out when my brother moved back home after college. And so my older brother basically played Morrowind as a job. So like I would go to school and he was playing Morrowind, and then I would come home from school and he was still playing Morrowind. That was like some of the best bonding I ever had with my brother, was playing Morrowind.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's such a good game. And Skyrim's fine. Skyrim does a lot of things.
I do agree. I like Morrowind the best still out of them. But
It's the
Skyrim was a
best.
lot
It's
of fun
so good.
too.
It's so good.
But
put it
I
on
also
Switch,
play
Todd.
on PC, so I mod the crap out of everything. So I breathe new life into the game over and over and over again with new mods and things like that. So,
Counterpoint, Lace.
but yeah,
Morrowind on Switch, you can play Morrowind everywhere. See?
true,
See?
true.
See?
If they did it, if they do it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm expecting maybe more of their Starfield game, and I don't expect Elder Scrolls 6 ever. I just don't expect them to ever say anything about it.
That's fair.
Outside
What
of
if-
Shirley Curry being in it, and she better stay in it as an NPC.
What if they like crossed out Elder Scrolls 6 and wrote Skyrim 2?
Oh God, that would be. Actually, I would love it from just like a marketing standpoint, because I could collectively hear all the gamer boys trademark like, "Ah!" you know. But yeah, I'd probably be like, can you not though?
Or better yet,
the joke.
better yet,
Hilarious.
they cross out Elder Scrolls 6 and write Skyrim 3.
Oh God, right? The internet would lose its mind for a minute. Well, all right. Well, keep checking it out. I'm sure we'll be back next week with some more tail end stuff. But I think that's our show. I think that is our Summer Game Fest Super Mega Crash Edition. Thank you so much for joining us, Troytle, too, and having all the fun combos. But don't forget, you can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash, or go to Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts his time and love into. You can send us an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com. Support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app. And you can even go to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. You want more entertainment? Go on over to YouTube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. And since we suck at Discord, you really need to help make us better by coming on over and joining. Links, I'm sure, in the description below. Thank you so much for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
I am Stephen White. Troytle, tell them where they can
I
find
was
you.
just going to say, and before we wrap it up, where do we find Troytle?
On the internet as
On the
TroytlePower.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's a TroytlePower.com, but I don't really use it much. I'm on Geek2Geek Media. I'm on Twitter at TroytlePower. I'm in the Super Mega Crash Discord. I have many podcasts, but just if you are like, man, that TroytlePower, I sure like the sound of their voice, I want to hear more of their voice, just find me on Twitter and be like, hey, where are you? And I'll point you to something that I do.
Well, you have a nice, neat little link on your Twitter, too,
Hey,
that
you do.
takes you to where all of your stuff. So,
Do I?
yeah, just go click on that.
Do I?
Oh, dear.
You do.
Oh,
Do you have
good.
the link
Oh,
tree?
good. Wow.
I'll
Because
put
I feel like that's how I stalked you one time
Oh.
when you were on the show. So, yeah, he made it all very nice, neat, and easy, even though he didn't remember he did that.
And if you really like me, you can go to patreon.com/TroytlePower and support me there. And I'll give you can listen to me play XCOM and see a drawing I did of a really buff Snorlax and a really sad Charmander and what other random doodles pop into my head.
Oh, wait, I did see you posting some of those on Twitter with the Snorlax.
Yeah,
right? The blue
somebody wanted a
feature.
buff
Yeah,
Snorlax,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, okay, I draw that. So yeah.
Fandom
that's
in
me.
every circle.
Links down below as usual for your convenience.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Anyway, yes, thanks for coming on. That was our
Absolutely.
Summer Game Fest. And don't forget, you could join us next time, Super Mega Crash Siblings. But I hope until then, you...
Game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.